This conference will now be recorded.
Let's just briefly look into what RAR is, especially SAP, how it is functioning for the IFRS 15 and then ASC 606 principles, how it is integrated with the SAP RAR, and how the process goes with SAP RAR functionality. So yeah, Naveen, so shall I start?
Yes, Lakshmi, we can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, basically RAR is there from quite some time. Like currently the SAP version of RAR is integrated with S4HANA 1908 is one, and then later 2020 has become widely used. So before, like in S4HANA, the RAR is integrated with it, and then it's just a part of S4HANA. Before that, it is used to be called as a 1.3, and then the way it used to behave and then the way it used to integrate with the SAP is different to that what S4HANA 2020 or the further versions have in place. So the current one is quite simpler. I mean, you need to do less configurations, and then the process is much more integrated and much more quicker and more efficient, I can say, than what it is with the SAP RAR 1.3 versions. So basically, like even this has come up because like in the industry, you see there are many varieties, or each industry or each company used to have their own way of dealing with the recognition of the revenues. So there is no like standard way of recognizing the revenues. So I mean, probably the finance persons, they are more into this, and then they can understand how different companies will recognize the revenue at different points, or how they present it. It is different. Now with IFRS 16 and ASC 606 codes, what they have come up and then they said is this is not right. We have to standardize the way the revenue is recognized. So like for example, in a standard sales process, you take goods is sold, delivered, and the invoice to the customer, and it is recognized. That is what it is. Now with different models of business with different models, business models, like with subscription SaaS models or some other project milestone models, the way people recognize the revenue is different, and that needs to be standardized. So that is how this all has started up, and now with S4HANA RAR, we can use this tool to do the revenue recognition based on IFRS 15 principles. Like I'll just give you an example. For example, let's take let us take an example. Like for example, in a standard sales order, how it goes, you have a sales order, then followed by delivery, then an invoice is created and posted to accounts, and then then the revenue is recognized, correct? So here, whatever is invoiced or whenever amount is received, it is recognized. So it is not based on whether the services are received by the customer or not. Like for example, you take a construction of a house. Assume that you have paid 100K to the builder, but has the builder delivered the goods to you yet? No, right? You have not got the house delivered to you, but you have paid this upfront to him, and a company recognizes this and then sends it to revenue. Then this revenue is considered as a revenue that they are collecting it for the services that they have not offered to the customer yet, which is not
Lakshmi, sorry to interrupt. Are you presenting the PPT or we are able to see
and this,
your mail screen only?
oh, are they not able to see the Excel?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Can stop sharing the screen and share the entire screen once again.
Okay. Okay. Can you see my Excel?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, in general sales order, order is created, delivery followed by delivery, invoice, and whatever amount is there, that is just recognized as revenue. For example, let us consider a case where a builder is constructing a house for you. So you have paid him 100K, but your house is not yet delivered. So in general revenue recognition, in general sales scenario, or how people used to recognize is this 100K, they used to put it into the revenue. So this is the revenue that they are showing as a revenue for the services that they have not offered it to the customer. So as per IFRS 16, they said this is not right and you have to standardize it, and then you can only recognize the revenue whenever the services are offered to the customer. So with this, what happened is, okay, then how about this 100K? Okay, so then what has come is, because they have already paid this, they have not offered the services, then they said this will be the deferred revenue. And this deferred revenue will be recognized as, this revenue will be recognized deferred revenue whenever the services are offered to the customer. At that point of time, this will be recognized as a revenue. So the IFRS has come up with something called as contract asset and contract liability, and there are other terms to it, which are deferred revenue and unbilled receivables. So initially, based on the invoice, these accounts will be posted, and whenever there is a fulfillment, then only the revenue will be recognized. So that's the whole idea of IFRS revenue recognition process. So we will look into it, how they calculate it and how we can configure those things in the SAP RAR system. So yeah, as you can see here, there is a sale from the stock. So event-based recognition will happen. And what kind of orders we can expect? We can expect a sales from stock order, like the goods that are issued, delivered, or there can be a service like telephone call service or the subscription service of the software. All these are the services. Or there can be something called make to order, something like projects or some other thing which are make to order. So there are these three, you can put basically these three type of sales that is usually offered to customers. So whenever there is a sale from the stock, so there is goods transferred to it. So these goods, how can we recognize the revenue? Whenever we send the goods to the customer, whenever the customer receives the goods, then the fulfillment happens, because we have sent the goods to the customer. So the services are transferred to the customer at that point of time. Then what about service? Services, you can think about like call services or subscription services. So these services, you have a contract period. So let us say the contract is for 1 year. So you have to recognize the revenue for every month, because it is monthly billed or something like that. And think about any projects like your construction projects or some projects which is based upon the milestone. Like initially you pay this much amount, later you pay 10%, then 25%. So it is based on the percentage of completion. So whenever, like, think that the project, let us think that there is an apartment that is under construction, and then they say that, once we put the slabs, we will receive 10%. And then once we do this, then we will receive 20%. So what the company does is, after the completion of the slabs, then they will say that we have completed it. So they are now eligible to collect 10% of the revenue as a fulfillment from your side. You might have paid them before, but they can show it as a revenue in their books for those 10% that they have completed. That is how, these three scenarios work in revenue recognition most of the times. Any doubts as of now? Or am I going fast or slow?
Nothing from my side.
Okay. So let me take you to this slide first. Let us think, like IFRS or the revenue recognition model. So what they have said, they have laid a set of rules, and they said you can recognize the revenue in a 5-step model. And then they said the first step is you have to identify the customer with identify the contract with the customer. Then you have to have a separate performance obligations. Then you have to determine the transaction price, allocate it, and recognize the revenue when the obligation is satisfied. So these 5, what they mean is what we are going to see. But these are the 5 rules framework that IFRS 15 has given for the revenue recognition model. So as I said, let us think there is one operation contract. This is nothing but the sales order. This is another sales order. So now what they have also said is, for example, I have sold a software. Okay, and then I have this thing that the sales order 1 is for the selling of a sales the software. So when the customer receives the software, then he has changed his mind and he said, even I want service or support for that software. So now the first order is the software, and the second order is the subscription or the support that he is getting it. So now IFRS is saying that these two are a part of the same, it should be the same bundle. You cannot identify the revenue separately. Though this element is different and this element is different, these multiple elements have to be grouped together, and then you have to recognize the revenue. So that is by thinking that there is sales order 1 and sales order 2, the revenue contract is now consisting of all the items from both the sales orders. So these terms may be new to you. So let me just tell you something before I go into these terms. Yeah, let us just go through the full. So as I said, first we will create a sales order, right? I am talking with respect to the standard OTC sales process. BRIM is little different. So BRIM has a provider contract and a subscription contract. That we will see it later. But from the normal OTC perspective, I'm just telling you. So a sales order is there, delivery, and then invoice. Now these are from the operational documents. Okay, so these operational documents, what happens is they will be processed and RARs are created. So inbound processing in RAR will create RARs. So how they create, whenever a sales order is created, an order I will be created. And whenever a delivery is done, then a fulfillment drive will be created and it will update the order right. Similarly,
And did I miss what is RAI?
RA is revenue accounting item.
Okay.
Yeah. So when the operation documents are created, then they will be sent to the RAR system as RISE.
Okay.
Whenever an order RISE is created, later this will be processed to create a revenue contract. Okay. And this revenue contract will have POBs. This POB is performance obligation. Okay. So for example, I have a sales order as shown here. I have a sales order 1. The simplest example is thinking that sales order 1 is there. Then you have item 1 and item 2. So this sales order, in the inbound processing, it will create an order right with item 1 and item 2. So each item in the revenue contract will be created. Item 1 is created as POB1. Item is created as POB2. This is the simplest case and the most used case also. And similarly, if there is contract 2, then you can think about a scenario where revenue contract 2 is created, item 1 as POB1 and item 2 as POB2. Or in the example I said before, where the software is sold, later the customer has come up and placed another order for a service, then you can combine these two contracts, operational contracts, which are the sales orders, into a revenue accounting contract. And in this single revenue accounting contract, all the items will be like item 1 is created as POB1, item 2 is created as POB2. Then in the operation contract sales order 2, the item 1 will go and then create as POB3, and item 2 will go and create as POB4. So POBs are the performance obligations. So what the step 1 here says is identify the contract with a customer. So you have to choose which sales orders or how you wanted to create a contract for revenue recognition. So the first step is whether you want to have one sales order as one revenue contract, or you wanted to have one or more sales orders to be combined together from different operational contracts. You want to create one revenue contract. So the business has to identify the contracts with the customer. And in the step 2,
And what is the business case where why I need to have one contract for two different sales order?
one contract for, as I said, like see, the customer has taken a software. Okay.
Okay.
On 10 days before, they have taken a software.
Okay.
Then at that time he did not opt for a service, which cost him separate. So in the operation document, how it happens, the sales order 100 is created for your software. But then after 10 days, he has come and said, I also want to have a service. So maybe 120 is the order that they have created for service. So
Okay.
these are two different.
I get it.
So they wanted to combine it.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So identify separate performance obligations. Now, as shown in this previous one, the simplest case is one item into one performance obligation. So item 1, like take this, there is operational contract.
POB, I mean.
Sorry?
What the POB drives when you say the performance obligations? I don't
Yeah,
understand.
POB, as of now, you think how you call an item in a sales order.
Okay.
Similarly, in a revenue contract, you call them as performance obligations.
Okay.
And so, I mean, in detail, you can see what a performance obligation does, but in a very high level sense, that's what it is. Like a sales order contains items, multiple items. A revenue contract contains multiple performance obligations.
Okay. One question,
So,
Lakshmi. I know I'm jumping ahead. I know that you are going to cover this, but
mhm,
in the example which you said, you have first, like, no, I bought a software license and then I'm
mhm,
buying in software additional services from that. How does the
mhm.
system know that it should go and add to the same revenue contract which the customer is already having?
Yeah, as you said, you jumped a little earlier, but that's a valid question. Yeah, actually, see, there are some configurations based on which RAR knows that what contracts it has to be. But
Okay.
there are some standard features to tell you, like, for example, a sales order 100 is created. Okay, so there is a reference ID that is created with 100 sales orders. So all the items in the 100 sales order will go for one contract. So we have to play with the reference ID. There is
Oh,
a
okay.
body enhancement where the reference ID has to be modified and
No, you
ensure that
don't
these
have
two
to go
will,
in detail anyhow you're going to cover.
yeah.
It
So
just kind of a logical, like, no, I was
yes,
just mapping the process. That's what got it. Please go
yes,
ahead with your.
yeah. So once you identify the contracts, what happens is, like, think this is a sales order for a smartphone pack. This is the bill of material. The item one is smartphone, item two is battery charger. Now, in the revenue contract, what happens? These two will go as a one item, and POB one is created for the smartphone pack. So a POB, as I said, it's nothing but like an item in the revenue contract. So one item for smartphone pack is created. So here the header item has gone ahead and then created a POB. So
There are two line items
sometimes,
in the contract, right? You said
yes. So, but here you see this is a bill of material. So
okay.
that is
Main
what here,
line
it is
item is
all
the
about how you wanted to optimize it. Okay, what is the business requirement? Whether they want to create one POB for smartphone, one POB for battery chargers, they can go ahead and do it. But then they think that they wanted to create a POB for the smartphone pack, then they create a POB for the smartphone pack.
in the main line item level.
Yes. So it is all the business requirement, how they want it, and then we can have it. But at the simplest case and the most preferred case, as I said, is one item will go and create as a one POB. But if it is a bomb, it may be whether you wanted it as a header level or at the item level.
Where is that control? Whether they wanted to create the lower level item to POB or mainline item to one POB. The configuration will exist in what system?
Yes. Yeah, correct. It all is based on the configuration.
No, the control will be in this before the RAR reaches, or once RAR reaches, RAR will control that to create one POP or against to the main or the multiple to the
Okay.
each.
So if it is a normal bomb, it is by default it goes like based on the delivery item and then pricing, which is relevant for what. But then there is also a way you can optimize it in the RAR level also.
Okay.
Yeah. So now here there is one more scenario just to tell you, like to give you an idea of POBs. Like you have created a POB for smartphone pack, and this smartphone pack has an implicit right, which is upgrade right. So when they are selling a smartphone, they will not tell that, they will not separately charge you for the upgrade, right? But it is implicitly there whenever we are buying a smartphone. But what business want to do is they wanted to show revenue for this separately. So then there is also a provision, something called as leading linked POBs. So what they do is a smartphone pack is there, and if you see in the sales order, there is no upgrade right in this. You don't see a line item for upgrade right? Because we are not selling it separately. But you can create a POB by certain rules, and then you can link this upgrade right to your smartphone pack. So this is called a linked POB. So, I mean, just to give fair understanding, like the simple is one line item, one POB. But you wanted to mix the contracts, identify two contracts and combine it, you can do it as well. And you wanted to have an additional POB which is not there in your order, you can also optimize it in the RAR. So it is all the business requirements. That is how you will configure the system. Next one. So once the POBs are identified, then what we have to do is, what is the price? What is the transaction price? And there is a new term called standalone selling price. So let us think there is a sales order which has a mobile phone and a service contract for 24 months. Okay. So which means per month it is $20, right? This is 480 is a service contract for 24 months. So $20. So for each month it is $20. So think a normal sales order scenario. So the first month when the customer purchases a mobile phone and for the service, so $20 plus $20, $40 will be the revenue for the company. But here, is it real that a mobile phone will cost only $20? No, right? The mobile phone is much costlier, but the service provider wants to sell his business, and that's how he has come up saying that, you take 24 months of contract with me, which is costing you $480, and the mobile phone is only $20. So this is how, as a bundle, he is selling this bundle to the customer. So, but this mobile phone individually, this is not the fair price of the mobile phone. So what is the fair price of the mobile phone? $360, and the service is only $240. So the companies have to come up with a price, something called as standalone selling price. Like you want to sell the mobile phone separately, how much it will cost you? You want to sell the services separately, how much it will cost you? So they have to come up with a figure, what would be the standalone selling price for each of the item. So think these two are the contractual price, which is nothing but the price that the company is selling for the customer, contractual price. And this standalone price is something that has come up by the company or the business based on their own, what do you call, research, or they have their own mechanisms to come up and state what is the standalone selling price. So now once they get the standalone selling price, you see this is the total. I'll just put this in the Excel for calculation purpose. So mobile phone is $20 is a contractual price. And
So the
service
is monthly or one-time amount?
What is this?
So you said the service is monthly, but the mobile phone is one time, or
The
that is
mobile phone is one time, correct?
correct?
So yes, one time, correct. The service is for 24. So the service provider has come up and said, this is how I am selling you. This is the prices. He has shown to the customer that he is selling these prices. But in true sense, is the mobile phone really cost only $20? No, right?
No.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, and we are seeing these kind of bundles more often these days, like
Correct.
based on services and something like that. They are coming up with their own prices and selling it to a bundle for their business marketing or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
So SSP is how much?
Lakshmi, to make it 48,000. Instead of 20, make it 48,000. So if you make a
48,000 you want?
split, 48,000, make a split. 48,000, no, in Excel.
Yeah, okay.
Instead of 20, make it 48.
Yeah, that's also okay.
Okay, now you make a split. Okay, what is a split? No,
Sorry?
mobile phone 48,000, your service contract is 4,800, like this. So you can make a split of 90 and 10. So first year you have to recognize 90 plus 5%, and second year you have to recognize only 5%. Then your accounting entry will be corrected.
Sorry, can you
When
come
you
again?
recognize the revenue, your service contract is for 2 years. Okay.
Correct.
So 480 will be splitted in 2 years. That means 5%, 5%. And your
Correct.
one-time service is your mobile phone. Okay, that will be recognized in your first year. So first year, the total entire revenue will be recognized as 95%, and second year it will be moved to only 5%.
Okay, that is what your general situation is, right?
No, if you go to IFRS 15, okay, make a split in this way. Okay, your service contract is supposed to say mobile phone is lump sum price. That will be recognized in your first year. And whenever you are doing any additional service or AMC or something like this, okay, it will be splitted in 2 years, 3 years. So every year will be splitted according to your percentage. Okay, whatsoever the total value divided by that percentage, it will be splitted into first year, second year, and third year.
Yeah, but how do you recognize the revenue?
First year you have to recognize 20,000, and your service contract is supposed to say 480. You are saying this one, okay?
Here,
So 240,
here it is not the
240 and
first year.
20,000. First year
No,
is
here it is not
20,000 and
okay. 1 minute. Think that you have sold this to the customer, correct? So whenever they are invoicing 20,000.
This is my contract. This is my contract. Okay.
Yes.
So 20,000 and 40,000 is my contract price. Now
Correct.
at the time of performing obligation, 20,000 I have delivered. Okay. So 20,000 is recognized in my books of accounts. Okay, as per revenue. 48,000. Okay, this is be treated as deferred revenue. Once the perform obligation is done first year, okay, only 5% will be recognized, and next year when the performance obligation is done, then 5% will be recognized.
Okay, no, here it is not yearly also. It is monthly.
So divide by 12.
Yes. So let us divide this by 12. Okay. So in the first month, this is the revenue it is to be recognized, correct? In normal scenario, this will be the revenue that will be recognized in the first month.
Make it 2,000. Make it 2,000 because it's an obligation of 24 months. So 48,000 by 24 months.
No. You have already given the mobile phone. Let us not go into this. In normal
Second part. 48,000 divided by 24.
Correct, which is 4,000, right? So you have delivered the goods, invoiced. So 20,000 will be recognized from the mobile phone. Then the first month, 4,000.
I think you divided it by 12 instead of 24. That's what he's trying to say.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So 2,000 for the first month, it will be recognized. This is the standard revenue recognition process without RAR. Correct? So in RAR, what happens is there is something called standalone selling price. Let us take this as 30 and 360K and 240K as a standalone selling price. So now what is the total of your contractual price, which is 68,000, and the standalone selling price is 60K. Sorry, there is something wrong here. Okay, 4824. Why is it showing 60?
Yeah, you should make it
No,
low.
you
Then
2,000 and 48,000 maybe.
then it works.
Yeah,
Oh,
I have added zero extra there, probably. Yeah. So now you have 60,000. So this is a standalone selling price if it is sold for its fair price. So what the third step and fourth step will tell is you have to
Can you go
determine.
back? No, what is that standalone selling price?
So standalone selling price is the fair price. Like, think the mobile phone is $2,000, but this is not the fair price. Like in this case, you can see, for example, this will give you more clear idea. The contractual price for the mobile phone is only $20, which is not making sense in true business. If they want to sell the mobile phone separately, will they sell it for $20? No, right? But then since they have come up with a bundle, their marketing, where they want to sell the mobile phone as 20 and the service, call services and other internet services together $480. So
Okay, standalone selling price means what is the price of that unit if you sell it separately?
yes, if you sell it separately, or what is the fair price if you sell it separately.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So this business has to come up with they will do the research and then they'll come up with the standalone selling prices.
Okay.
So now this is a standalone selling price of the mobile phone. Okay, and then for 24 months, he's charging 24,000 as a standalone selling price. Now you wanted to see what is the standalone selling price percentage, weighted percentage, which means this 36,000 is how much percentage of the total standalone selling price. This is the revenue contract. Okay, I'll come up from here. A sales order is there with 2 items. Okay, and this sales order is creating a revenue contract. From here, a revenue contract with 2 POBs. POB 1 is this, POB 2 is this. Okay, and this is a total contract value. This is the total contractual price. This is the standalone contractual price. Now, what step 3 and 4 will tell is, whatever is the standard selling price of this contract, revenue contract, this you have to distribute in the percentages, the weighted percentages of the standalone selling price to the contractual price, which means this 36,000 is how much percentage of 60,000? 60%. And the POB2 is how much percentage of standalone selling price, which is 40%, right? So this one, this is how POB1 and POB2 are sharing the standalone selling price. 60% shared by the mobile phone and 40% is shared by the services. So now you have to distribute the contractual price also in this ratio, and this price is called allocated price. So now this is the total contractual price.
I just have one doubt. So the contractual prices will be derived based on the pricing, whatever the business was maintained. Okay, so that's how you're selling in a BOM also.
Correct.
So how that SSP prices will be maintained, or are you deriving from the contractual prices, or how?
No, these are not derived from the contractual prices. There are some research techniques usually that we will not do it. So the business, what they do is they will take one way is that they'll take it from the market resources. Think a mobile phone of certain features is sold. How much is the price that they wanted to sell it? Based on the market research, they can do it, or based on whatever they are selling it, the history that they have it, based on it, they can derive it. So these are generally the two ways that they come up with the standalone selling price.
But at least that price is coming from the upstream systems to RAR, or you are deriving, or you are maintaining the prices in RAR?
We have to maintain it, but the prices are given by the business.
Correct. Prices will be given by the business, but that's what I'm saying. At the time of contract creation,
Yes.
the contractual prices will be maintained in the upstream systems, right? Where
Correct.
the
So
contract. But this SSP prices also will maintain there and comes to RAR, or it is within RAR?
no, see, that there are two ways that you can do this. As one is you can maintain it as a condition type in the pricing itself, and also you can define it in the business rules for RAR contract creation at the time of RAR POB creation. So there are two ways that you can do it.
Okay.
So once you we define the standalone selling price. So what now these calculations, whatever I'm showing, these are not, we are doing manually just to show you. So once I feed these standalone selling prices, when the POB1, the standalone selling price is this, so the system will automatically do the allocate the prices. But how they are allocating, I'm just showing it to you.
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah. So now, so this mobile phone weighs 60% of the total standalone selling price. So we have to take 60% from the contractual price and allocate that to the mobile phone. And 40% to the services. So now this should match your 50,000. So the contractual price now is distributed based on the standalone selling prices, weighted standalone selling prices for each of the items. So 60% and 40%, and then they have allocated it. So now once this is allocated,
But
based on the
you allocate in monthly, if it is a monthly contract, the same split goes in every monthly, or in end of the term only you are able to allocate completely in RAR? I mean,
No.
are you okay?
Yeah. So this mobile phone is generally will be delivered, right?
Correct. The mobile phone
Yeah.
2000 is immediately went to the account, but 48,000 that is going in a monthly wise, correct? But
Correct.
whatever you are allocating the price, is it after the end of the term? That is what you are expecting to be recognized. But I'm just connecting the dots. I don't know, like at what time that allocated price will be equivalent to the 50,000.
Yeah. So this is for 12 months, right? 24 months.
Yeah, 24 months.
So each month it is $833.33, right? So
each
we
month
have to spend
on 48,000, right? Not on 20,000. Because the 2,000 went in the first month, and 40,000 divided by 24, that's what it is coming to the RAR.
No. See, let us take this from the contractual price.
You're
Okay.
doing the total contract value in RAR. That's the one time you're doing.
Yes. So this 48,000, if you divide by 24, okay, this is 2,000 per month, but this is the contractual price.
Correct.
In RAR, we will not look for the contractual price. It is the allocated price. That is what the revenue postings will be done for.
Yeah, I got your calculations completely. Only I'm just thinking, at the day one only the total contract value that allocation will happen in RAR, or end of the term once all the payments were received, because it's a monthly contract, right? Billing.
No. Actually, what happens is whenever the contract is created, like the moment a sales order is created, an order RAR will be created, right?
Correct.
So whenever the order RAR is created, we have already defined the standalone selling prices. So a revenue contract is created with two POBs.
Correct.
And since we have defined the sales standalone selling prices, what happens is this allocated price is already calculated.
Correct. So in the day one of the contract creation itself, you are expecting this value to be there in the system. This is how
Yes,
this.
correct.
Correct.
Yes, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So the moment it is revenue contract is created, you will have allocated prices.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since this is a mobile phone, the fulfillment will be a goods issue. Okay. But since this is spread to 24, this is something called as time-based. So this is called as event-based recognition. And this is called as time-based recognition. So what happens here is, think the first month, the goods are issued, right?
Mhm.
So the services are rendered to the customer. So this 30,000 allocated price plus this 833 all together, this will be what is the revenue recognized for the first month.
But that's not actual revenue, right?
That's not actual revenue.
Because
So
customer
your
is
SD revenue postings are 2,000 if it is invoiced. And if think that there is a bill plan, then a 2,000.
correct.
This is what it will be recognized.
This is what the first month recognition is. Correct.
Yes. But since you have applied the standalone selling prices and then you have a allocated price, the revenue will be recognized based on the allocated price.
But that's not actual. Right?
Yes, but that is what RAR is all about. That is what IFRS is all about.
If the customer has cancelled the complete contract in the second month, at that time you already given the device of with the $2,000, and he just paid 2,000 for the service. What will happen in that case?
So in this case, this will be adjusted to 2,000. And these are the allocated prices because your SSP is same, the percentages remains the same. The allocated prices is this, and what is the revenue recognized? If there is any catch-up amount or how it is, it will be calculated based on that. So those are covered in the contract changes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What will be the return reversal amount from the customers you need to charge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. So I mean, yeah.
At the end of the day, you're saying what will be the estimated revenue or something on the day one, on the day two, something like that?
So revenue will be recognized whenever the jobs are run. So yeah, if the job is done on the first day, itself the revenue will be recognized.
Maybe I'm not a core finance guy. I don't understand, but yeah, slowly maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So think that this,
Now, Kumar,
let us
what is your question?
Now, actually, we are saying on the day one that L column saying we are recognizing that amount based on the allocated price, though the customer is not paid in the first month, right? The 30,000
Mm-hmm.
that we are recognized for complete term, the 2 years. The actual recognition on the L column should be 2,000 on the first month, but here we are saying 30,833 on the first month. That's what I
Okay.
recommend.
see, I just wanted to add one thing here. Whatever this amount you are saying, you don't call it as revenue itself. Okay, there is
Kumar,
something called unbilled
Kumar,
receivables and deferred revenue. So
But in this
somebody,
deferred only
No,
30,000.
Kumar,
Like, yeah,
Kumar, I see your point. Okay, from OTC side of it, if you are looking at it, your revenue is only 2000 for the first month, mobile phone.
correct,
And then, like, no, whatever 2048 divided by 24, 2000 is your revenue. I see from that point of view.
correct.
But this is because, like, no, they are reducing the mobile phone price, okay, to offer to customer,
Mm,
and then they are giving some additional services. This is very common in US. Okay,
mm,
so if I go to if I go and buy for an iPhone with a T-Mobile company or AT&T,
mm,
they will say you get device for free,
mm.
and you do a contract for 24 months for the services. Okay, but ideally there is the device what the company invested, like, in buying that inventory,
Mm.
they actually incurred some cost. So that's
Correct.
what is called as, like, the SIP. What is that?
Yeah,
Is
that is SP. Correct.
SSP, right? I cannot do, like, just go and recognize the revenue what customer is paying. Ideally, like, if I want to show my books of accounts correctly, I need
Mm.
to recognize what is the market price of it, and then I have to recognize that as a revenue. I cannot see what customer is paying as a revenue. That's what the
Yeah,
accounting side of it. I see. Since you said that you are not more comfortable, or like you are not aware of what is happening in the
yeah.
accounting side of it or
Mm,
finance side of it.
mm.
That's the key difference what you see. So you actually recognize the revenue from RAR, even though your actual revenue from customer is different.
Okay, got it. But
Yeah.
that's not actually that amount not flown to the business, right? It just it to be estimated and
yeah.
that's deferred revenue.
So no, actually, yeah. See, even the companies, what they are doing is they are following different standards in showing their profit losses and other revenues. So that is why this standardization has come. So how you have to recognize the revenue? How if this is a bundle they are selling it, the price is different, fair price is different. This is one scenario, and the second one is you have bought the goods, for example, today. Okay, you have paid them yesterday. So yesterday they cannot show that there's a revenue. They have to show that revenue on today's date. So till between yesterday and today, it will be parked as a deferred revenue.
Got it.
See,
Okay.
ideally, like, no, in my example, you have AT&T and T-Mobile, right?
Yeah.
If you follow one process in AT&T and if I follow a different process in T-Mobile,
Mm,
as an investor, I cannot see both the company or reporting at the same level. I'll
mm,
be confused which one is doing more, like, not doing good, who
mm.
is making more profit. So that's
Okay.
where all the accounting standards come into picture. Everyone in the mobile industry should follow the same practice, so that as an investor I can assess which company is doing correct and which company is doing good or bad, right?
Mm,
And I will make the investment. So in this example, what Lakshmi was explaining is that even though I have the revenue in the first month for 4000, if I show 4000 but my cost of the mobile phone is, like, no, may not be, like, no, 4000, it can be 10,000, right?
I agree. Mm,
So I will be reporting loss in the first month. And then in the second month, if you book the revenue, because I covered all the cost in the first month, then I will be showing a huge margin and then huge profit in the second month, which is not accepted as per accounting principles. So that's where the RAR come into picture, and then you calculate SSP, and based on that SSP, we allocate the price. Sorry, Lakshmi, I just
No,
got
completely
want to give an
okay.
example. That's the
No,
reason.
that's quite okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, at least I'm getting the thought to be connected. Yeah, thank you.
So as I said here, the fulfillment is a goods issue. So once the goods issue is done, then they can recognize revenue of 30,000. So this is the step 5. So the 5 steps are like basically to start with your sales order, what sales orders have to go for what contracts, and the contracts, what kind of performance obligations should be there, what is the transaction price and what is the standalone selling price, and how they are standalone selling price, how is it weighted, and then based on it you have to allocate the revenue. And in the step 5, whenever the performance obligation is satisfied, then only revenue has to be recognized. So this is a 5-step model for the IFRS 15. So which forms the very basis for the SAP RAR. So then in the subsequent classes, we can see what are the different as I said in step 5, I said, I mean, whenever there is a fulfillment, then only POB will be satisfied. So what kind of fulfillments can be done, how they are configured, all these we can see in the upcoming classes.
But at least because the RAR is end system, right? How are you placing that? From where are you placing that contract, the bundle? Are you gonna cover from end to end or only starting from RAR?
No, see, end to end means, I mean, sales order configuration, all these things will not be covered.
I'm not asking configuration,
Yeah,
but
yeah. From sales order, yes. From sales order, we will cover. We will cover in the OCM version first. So it's like there is some classic version and OCM version of RAR for SAP.
What is OCM?
OCM is 1 minute, optimized contract management.
Okay.
Okay, this is like a very simplified version of RAR with very minimum settings, and then the real-time processing will happen. It's like the moment you create an order, it will be.
The main problem is that no one is SD consultant. Okay, so for the purpose of RAR, we can set up the basic for FICO, but for SD perspective, what are the setup to be done in order to generate RAR? We need to check that one in system first. Okay, if you start only from RAR perspective, okay, and you do not show the setup of SD, then it's very difficult. Once we go to configure everything into system, when the system will be provided, we do not generate anything. From FICO perspective, we can do, but from sales order perspective, we cannot do anything because we don't have any proper background of SD. So
Yes.
from a point of view, we have to think on this issue.
Okay, so usually in scenarios, business scenarios, SD is done by somebody else, and RAR contract will be RAR will be managed by
There are
a different
separate groups.
consultant.
Okay, there are separate groups, but when you are delivering that one, so you think in this way that okay, SD configuration you have to show either in the format of any documentation or any other PDF or any other format, so that at least in the proper sense, whenever we generate any sort of document, we can have a proper setup, because we do have a system, but we do not know how to do SD setup. So what are the things like OV? Okay, so supposed to that generation of pricing. Okay, so if I make changes in pricing or any sort of conditional agreement, so how do I do if I do not have a proper sense? Okay, in SD format. So if you do have any other document as far as SD configuration is concerned, you have to share with us.
See, Naveen, you want to pitch in, but see, actually, SD configuration itself is a whole lot of things.
At least, like, no, what I understand is more from the integration perspective. What is
So
like,
integration
no,
perspective is definitely it will be covered because it's a part of integration is definitely a part of RAR integration with SD. But if I should cover the
yeah,
pricing
I
configurations
get
or
that
something like that,
actually.
then it's a whole lot of another session of SD. I mean, I do not remember your name,
No,
but
you can
you please
only
understand.
configure. Suppose
What
if
is
you
your name?
configure one company, Lakshmi,
What is
if you
what is your name?
Sudipto,
Sudeep. Okay.
so if you just set up, okay, once you set up one company, think in this way, you start from the scratch level. So ESD people are there, FI people are there. So if you start from the scratch level, set up one company, then inter configuration you can do. So, but if you start from the RAL level, okay, nobody knows, okay, what are the configuration basically required for ASD perspective. ASD knows ASD
Now,
portion, FI know FI portion. But for your perspective, okay, trainer perspective, okay, if you give us some glimpses on this issue.
see, now if I want to set up a SAP system, this is a demo system. Okay, if you want, I should be knowing about FICO, I should be knowing about and then I should be knowing about SD, and then only I will start.
Correct.
That's really very difficult
Right.
to put it in the demo system.
So that's why I'm asking, okay, if there is any SD perspective document, if you have, if you kindly share that document, okay, configuration document, at least we can try, okay. If there is any mistakes or if there is any configuration error, that we'll check in Google and then we configure that one. But we need a proper document, okay, because ultimately RAR will generate from your sales order. Okay, if I put the OR simple standard order, still it will give me error if I do not have a proper configuration.
So,
Yeah, that I think
Naveen, are
Sudeep
you
we
sharing the
can.
same system? Is system shared to them as well?
Which
Not
system
yet.
you are?
Okay. Once they enroll, we'll be sharing them.
Okay, and is it the same system?
Yeah. The same system will be sharing with them.
Yeah, then you can just take the customers and then the other
No, 1 minute.
parameters that I'm using and then.
Lakshmi, what he's looking for is some sort of a documentation where he want to create his own company
See,
code and the sales
SD itself,
organization.
see,
SD itself. No, 1 minute. Naveen, do you have any
Mhm.
documentation, configuration document for SD, which you can share it with Sudeep?
Yeah, for SD we have it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can share that with Sudeep so that he
Okay.
can practice on the configuration from SD side of it.
Okay. Fine. Yeah.
So he's looking for that kind of a guidance, like no configuration document and any kind of
Yeah.
a training document available, user training document, something like that.
For SD we have it, but for RAR we don't have it. Okay. Just want to give an heads up.
No, he's mainly looking from SD point of view.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
RAR will cover in class, okay, but
Yeah.
suppose
RAR will
if
be
I
covered in
configure
the
one
class and we'll be
company
having
code,
a recording. Yeah.
okay, so if I configure one new company code, so I need to configure all these, okay, if I SD everything, but if I do not know how to configure, okay, SD enter configuration, then your RAR will not be generated. Any accounting document will not be generated.
That is true, Sudeep. I completely agree with you. Maybe we can look for some document from Naveen. I'll also, if I got any documentation on SD configuration, I'll also
No.
share it with
SD
you.
configuration document I have it. I'll share you for sure. Not a problem.
No worries. Yeah. Thank you.
So, all right, then we'll meet next week and then we can start the sessions.
So, what is the plan for the class? Are you planning only on the weekends or how you're planning and what is your flexibility on that?
I can work on weekends. Yeah.
So you're planning only on weekends?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
What time
Same
you are
like
planning?
Saturday
Morning,
India
night?
morning and Sunday India morning. Okay.
How
Correct.
many hours of the content I mean to complete the ARIA?
Sorry, Kumar?
Sorry.
No, how many hours that ARIA course will be?
Total duration you are asking, right?
Short duration, yeah.
Yeah, it will take 30 plus hours.
Okay.
So we can have it like Saturday 2 hours and Sunday 2 hours kind of session. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
2 hours may be little difficult. Can we make it 1.5 hours?
Okay, fine, not a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. All right then.
Any other technical queries, or else we can wind up for the day.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No question from
Thank
my
you,
side.
Lakshmi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Lakshman. Bye.